Hello everyone, welcome to my week 7 bullet journal update setup. Today's topic of conversation is going to be like talent, skills, and hobbies because there's a distinct difference between each and every one of them. Okay, let's start with my definitions. Talent, I believe, is something that you're like naturally born with. Like, let's say you came out of the womb and you were just like singing. I mean, obviously that doesn't happen, but like as in like some people just have very naturally good voices for singing, right? So I define that as like a talent. Of course, you can develop singing as a skill if you practice it and get good at it and like go to a coach, but like that's usually a talent. Dancing, on the other hand, like I think you can be naturally inclined to be better at dancing. Like maybe if you have like really good arches on your feet and you have a really good point, you know, then you're gonna be naturally inclined. But like I don't think dancing can be a talent, right? I think it has to be a skill. You can't just like be like, oh, I'm a dancer now, and just like start dancing and being good at it. Like, no, that's not, that doesn't happen. That's a skill. Now, a hobby, I believe, is something that like you don't feel the need to be good at it, right? So like, for example, me, crocheting is a hobby of mine. I don't have to be good at it. It's not my skill. It's not my talent. Like, I just do it for fun. And if I'm shitty at it, oh well, it's just for me, right? You know, because I would say that dancing is my skill, right? I've been dancing since I was 3, basically. I took a break in middle school because I wanted to be a theater kid. Dark times in my life. But you know, like that's a skill because I wasn't actually, I'd say I'm naturally not inclined to be a dancer. I have the weirdest bent legs. Like I have under straightened legs. It's very annoying because but it's a skill of mine because I developed the skill over many times. For example, one of my best friends, her talent is singing. Like she's been singing since she was born, basically, right? You know, like there are videos of her at 3 years old at like little festivals and she's like, yeah, whoa. The thing is I feel like everyone mistakes like skill for talent and talent for skill, right? You know, I hate when people are like, oh, that person was born to do this. And it's like, no, they're not. They just happen to fall into that. You know, they just like, I wasn't born to be a dancer by any means. I just happened to start dancing when I was 3 because my mom didn't want to deal with me, right? And then it became a skill of mine. I want to focus more on being good at things because if you're good at something, that really helps you a long way. You can become good at something and it can carry you through life. You can become good at like freaking grouting tiles, right? And that'll be your job. If your skill is grouting tiles, is that even what it's called? I don't know. Then that becomes your job, right? As long as you like it. And so I feel bad. This sounds so mean, but like I feel bad for people who like when they were really young or even ever didn't start doing something so that they can feel good about something and be good at something, right? You know? Although that's not even fair to say because like so many people like start things late and get really good, right? Like you can start anytime and be really good at something and that can be your talent. Like, cause maybe you were naturally born to do something, didn't find out until way later in life, right? Like maybe you have really cool spider fingers that let you play the guitar really well, but you didn't pick up a guitar until you were 25, but that ends up being your talent, right? A secret hidden talent, and then it can develop into a skill. I have the one I'm talking about is completely incoherent. Like I know that none of you are following what I'm saying. Another one of my friends, she's like, oh, I wish I was good at something, and I was like, well, pick something up and get good at something. And so she ended up picking up drawing, got good at drawing, and yeah, now she's like, she's going to an art school, right? And she like, you know, so I guess it's just gonna be motivation. So like, if you kind of feel shitty about where you are in life, just pick something up and start doing it. And you know what? If you're not passionate about it, let it be a hobby. I think people forget the importance of having hobbies because to have something that you need there's no pressure to be good at and you can just do it for the sake of doing it is so important. Especially if you're someone with like a specific talent or skill. Sometimes you can get really tired of that. For example, when I stopped dancing is because I was so sick of dancing, mainly because I hated my studio and all the people at it, and they all hated me and they would bully me and make me cry every single night. But you know, I got sick of dancing. And so I looked to hobbies to fill that. And one of my hobbies was acting. And so I started becoming a theater kid and I did the shows in my school and I ended up actually getting really good low-key. Well, for a middle schooler. You know, I looked to hobbies to fill that void. And then in high school, when the time came around, I ended up started dancing again. And I kind of dropped acting because like I was kind of done with it, you know. But since then, you know, I've gotten more hobbies to like, because what's so good about hobbies is they're just pure joy, right? Like whenever I'm bored, I know I can just pick up literally anything and just start doing it, like any artsy thing. And like, you know, bullet journaling is definitely one of my hobbies. Now, of course, I'm kind of turning it into something by putting pressure on myself to be good at it. but that's a whole other thing. Because actually, I wouldn't say I'm putting pressure on myself to be good at it. Just because I started an account doesn't mean I have to be good at it, right? Like, I'm more doing this to connect with people, and, we've already talked about all of that. I think a lot of people feel bad when they get to a certain point and they realize that, like, they don't have a talent or a skill. And I think the important thing to remember is just, it's never too late to start, and try everything. Because theoretically speaking, I may have a talent that I do not know about yet because I have yet to explore it, right? Because really, the only things I've done in my life, that sounds so bad, the only things I've done in my life, like, I did soccer all through elementary school, didn't really care for it. I danced. Yeah, I do art, but, like, I also wouldn't say that I'm naturally, actually, about that, a whole other thing. You can definitely be talented at something, but not have the skill for it, right? I'm actually rather naturally talented at art, right? Because I'd say from the day I was born, I, like, came out and I was, like, drawing and, like, doing everything, right? And I was actually, like, pretty decent, for, like, a kid. But then I kind of, like, stopped caring about drawing and art and stuff, and so I stopped getting good. And then I picked it back up, and then I stopped it again. So I'd say I have a talent for, like, art and drawing in specific, but I would definitely say I'm not very skillful at it because, like, I got bored of it because... So I think you can definitely have a talent without being, like, you can have a talent without skill, you can have a skill without talent, and hobby, you don't have to have either. And I think it's important to have one of each, because I think it's nice to have one of each, because that means no matter what, you can always, like, fill a void in your life. Oh, and I think in general, it's probably just best if you don't put pressure on yourself to be good, or, well, to be great, and, like, the best at everything, right? Because just chill out. It's life. You don't have to be the best at everything. Usually, if you're good enough, If you don't think you're good at anything, there are plenty of things you can do with that, right? Like, there are plenty of things where you don't have to be good at one specific thing to, like, prosper. That sounds so weird. For example, like, in terms of, like, academics, you don't really have to be good at anything. Like, for example, to be a biomedical engineer, you don't really, you have to be, like, good at math, but, like, you just learn math. Like, yeah, technically math is a skill, but, like, it's not like you have to have a natural inclination to do anything. I think a lot of people feel bad when they're not naturally born to do anything, but I think that's so unrealistic. And I think it's rare to find anyone who's naturally born to do something. But I think, the moral of the story, if you're bored, pick something up. Maybe it's a talent, maybe it'll become a skill, maybe it'll become a hobby. It's never too late to try. If you're not good at anything right now, don't worry about it. If you're good at something, and you worry that you're not going to be good at it anymore, or that you're not good enough, stop worrying. Just in general, stop worrying about things like skills and talents and hobbies. And that was my TED Talk. This is my week 7 setup. Hope you enjoyed. I enjoyed. Bye.